Joining us right now is Pete Buttigieg. Of course, he is the former transportation secretary under President Biden. And Secretary, thank you for being with us this morning.
Thanks for having me in.
When I first looked at the notes, I kind of laughed because we said we were going to have you on to talk about a reaction to the numbers. I said we're not actually talking to him about a reaction to the numbers, but they did say you were interested in speaking about inflation. So let's start there. We got these numbers, not as hot as had been anticipated, but we knew that energy prices were going to be higher, up 10% this time around. Food prices up 0%, but there are concerns those will rise down the road. What are your thoughts on where we stand right now?
Yeah, as feared, inflation is up. And the big thing that's different right now, I think, is that in many periods in American history, including recent history, you've had inflation, and then the administration does things to try to reduce it. Sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail. But the administration is trying to push prices down, normally. Right now, we have the administration actively making prices higher. They're actively making goods prices higher with the tariffs, obviously. Typical family paid about $1,000 more for that. They're actively making energy prices higher by killing energy transmission projects as well as generation projects. And they're, of course, actively making energy prices higher with a war that nobody wanted, nobody asked for, and that, of course, is the direct reason why inflation is higher now than it was before. To see inflation tripling from last month, not because the administration tried and failed to lower prices, you could put it that way, but really because they actively increased them.
I see your point with tariffs. That's certainly valid when you look at some of these issues. But with the war, the administration obviously thinks it was going after security issue with Iran, with a player that potentially was close, very close to having a nuclear weapon.
But that right there is a huge fail for the White House, because they assured us that the nuclear program was obliterated a year ago. Moreover, we've seen that it's possible, or at least it used to be possible, before U.S. credibility was demolished by this White House, to stop Iran from having a nuclear weapon through diplomacy. I believe the president started this war because he wanted to. And now we're in a situation where you've got a war that we didn't need to have. Iran has enormous leverage now. Certainly their military has been degraded. But let's be very clear about why the president backed down. Why did the president back down from his demands?
Let's start with
why is the president taking a weaker position than he started with?
Let's start with just the prospect of the war to begin with.
Yeah.
Look, the argument that he started this because he wanted to, there are plenty of people who think there was a very real threat of nuclear. It was presented through intelligence. Israel had an opportunity to really take and strike at this point. And as for diplomacy, that was sunsetting anyway. Anything?
Well, it wasn't sunsetting. It was detonated by the first Trump administration. It was knocked out, but it was going
to sunset if it hadn't already.
And they were lying about everything.
Right. The idea of they had much longer range missiles than they ever admitted
compliance
to.
Problems,
we've seen all of that
sure.
play out.
But the point is, they had been stopped from getting anywhere near a nuclear weapon. And last year, the president assured us that he ended their nuclear ambitions. If he wants to come clean with the American people that he failed to do that, then he has to say that before he launches a war.
Democrats at that time said, no, you haven't. And then you haven't.
Clearly he hadn't.
Yeah.
Clearly that he hadn't. So then we needed to go back and take care of it, unless you really think it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
But again, they don't have a nuclear weapon. They weren't about to get a nuclear weapon.
Why do you keep saying they weren't about to get one? Steve Witkoff said they had enough fissible material for 11 bombs.
So are you acknowledging the president lied when he said that their program was obliterated?
No one knew what happened at Fordo.
Either he didn't know or he was lying. Okay. Which is it?
Is that really the point? Whether or not
the point isn't my neighbors in Michigan are paying more for gas.
Whether or not he knew it was obliterated or not is not the point. If it wasn't obliterated, then you have to do something. You can't go back and say, well, you lied about this,
Joe,
so that we can't actually do what we need to do.
Joe, America is weaker because the president launched this war.
That's your opinion. That's not.
No, but it's clear, and I'll tell you why. Because
we had
when
the
Trump,
Secretary of NATO say the world is a safer place. He just said that yesterday.
His job is to butter up the president. But why do you think the president chickened out on his demand? Why do you think the president backed off of his demand? The president said,
backed off of which demand?
Unconditional surrender. Right now, instead of unconditional surrender, which was the president's
This is
demand
not
just
over
1
yet.
month.
This is not over yet, number one. And
Is this unconditional surrender?
I don't know what it's going to end up being.
I'll tell you what we've
if
got.
If the Strait reopens again and they
Okay,
have no Navy.
So the best
no
case
missiles,
scenario is the Strait being open. The Strait was open before he started this.
Yeah,
and
but they were
meanwhile,
close to having a nuclear weapon. 11 nuclear weapons.
we had other ways of dealing
Like
with
what? Obama's way?
that worked.
That did not work.
Did they get a
were
nuclear
lying
weapon under Obama? Did they get a nuclear
They were
weapon
close
under?
enough within months.
No. And the president, again, assured us the whole point of bombing them last year was to quote unquote obliterate the nuclear program.
I understand that.
And look, I'm saying this as somebody who knows what it's like to be sent to war by a U.S. president. And when a president sends you to war, when you and your buddies are on that gray tail plane going into a war zone, you do it with some level of confidence, some level of assurance that your chain of command, all the president of the United States would not do this if they
now
didn't have
that
a
we're there,
choice.
do you hope this has a successful outcome? There were 40,000 Iranians that were slaughtered by the same regime.
And this is the
47
other-
years of killing
Exactly.
Americans, stirring trouble all around the world.
And
with
how do you
proxies.
feel about that regime being left intact by this president?
I don't
thought
know
we were
if
getting
that's
rid of
going to
them.
be the case, and I don't
It's
know
the
what
case
might
now.
happen.
It's the
Is that
case
an
now.
argument for? Is that an argument?
So you don't want this to work, and it was just a bad move. You want us to pull out now.
Well, look, there's no obvious way out now, but I want to make sure that this ends in a way that, first of all, our economy can recover, that we're not paying so much for gas. I mean, right now, oil's $100, jet fuel's $200, gas is over $4, diesel's like
You averaged
$5.50.
380 under Biden for 4 years.
Yeah, and when we left, inflation was lower than it is today.
You accounted for 21.5% price increase.
This president took the inflation rate up.
Inflation.
This president
It's
took the inflation
2.7%.
rate up.
It's 2.7%.
It's more than 3% year on year. You saw the numbers just come out. It's more than 3% year on year.
Okay. There's
Isn't it?
PCE,
Am I
there's core.
mistaken?
It is.
Sorry?
The math is direct.
Yeah.
The math is the math.
Look,
It
it couldn't be
fluctuates each
simpler.
month from 2.7 to 3%.
It's higher than when he got
hard.
here,
It's
Joe.
not 9%.
His central campaign promise was he was going to take inflation and drive it down, and instead he
It's
took
not
inflation and it's up.
9%. I thought in the Fed
It was
obviously,
3 when he got here, and now it's more. It
Well, it's
could
around-
not be simpler than that.
It's around 3, and we're involved.
It would go down. He came in on day one, and now it's up.
It's up to 3%. It was 21.5% price
promised it
increases
would go
over
down
4
and it didn't.
years. Over 4 years, it was 21.5%.
He promised it would
you
go
own,
down.
Democrats own the affordability crisis.
Listen to me.
Period.
Why did the president fail to
laugh?
keep
You
his
don't think
promise?
Democrats own the affordability crisis?
Why did the president fail to keep his promise to lower prices, in your opinion?
I'm laughing because this piece of it is basic. The president did say that he wanted to be in office to bring inflation down, and he has not brought inflation down. That's all.
He drove it up. He not only failed, he drove it up.
Mr. Secretary, let's talk a
Tariffs
little bit.
have had a minimal effect.
You tell a family
on-
where I live that $1,000 per household is minimal.
from the 21.5% increase that the Democrats.
No, we can argue all day about just how bad COVID was and how bad it got and what it took
Okay,
to come
and
back
all the-
from that.
all
But
the
you call it $1,000. Where I live, $1,000 per household isn't minimal.
Now
It's tough.
now Democrats found religion on inflation. After presiding over the worst inflation in 40 years, now you found religion.
It's 2026. They're in
I'm aware
charge.
of that.
You guys are in charge.
I'm aware
What
of
are
that.
you going to do differently?
Look,
What are you going to do differently to make the prices actually go down like you promised a year
number
ago?
one, we got to get through this war, and you've heard people.
We got to get through this war. We didn't have to be fighting this war. What are we doing?
That's a matter of opinion. You can't say that.
It's a matter of opinion that I share with most Americans and a large number of Republicans and a whole bunch of MAGA people who bought into this president because they actually
He's
believed
got
in what he said he would get us into a
75%
war.
Republican approval for the war.
You don't start with the approval you have within your own party. But the point is, the MAGA coalition.
Democrats aren't going to approve of
signed up for
anything.
this. I'm talking about Americans. Americans disapprove of the president and their right to do so.
He's got the same approval rating other presidents have had at this point in the term. A little bit above,
This
42%.
president right now is unpopular for very good reasons. One of which
He's
is
no
that
more
he's made
unpopular
life
than
more
Obama was
expensive.
or Biden was at the same at the same point of his presidency.
That depends on which poll you're looking at, but by and large, no. I'm sorry, but like I've been out on the trail. I was in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is a Trump plus 38 district, or it was.
I know
We
the
had
numbers.
500 people.
You'll get a chance to prove that in November
500
this
people.
year.
Okay. We had a chance to prove it last week.
The
when it
Senate
was at
might go. I
25%
understand
over.
that.
Yeah, because people are
Presidents make difficult decisions, obviously.
Yeah, but usually they make difficult decisions to try to make other people better off. This president's made decisions to make himself better off. That's definitely happened. If you're the kind of person who can pay $1 million for the entry fee to Mar-a-Lago, then you're doing great. But everybody else